Hi everybody and welcome to Colorful Threads Embroidery, and today we're going to be talking about Design Shop and the different levels of Design Shop and what they offer. So that's what we're going to be doing. So if you want to stick around and hang out, that would be great. I'd love to chat with everybody, as well as I'm going to be showing what's going on. So I needed to print out the list. So I have the highest level of Design Shop, and when I first bought my first machine in 2000, I told the sales rep, give me the Cadillac, don't give me the Pinto. I want all the options and bells and whistles. I only want to be blocked by the fact that you literally cannot do it, right? So I've always had the highest level of software. It's kind of what you see on the screen. Is I've got my highest level of software. Thanks. Hi, Marianne. Hi, how are you doing? So let's talk about the different levels and what they give you. Because when you first get your machine, you might not know what you need, and you're going to be sending things out to be digitized, and then you realize, oh, I could do a very simple, shape in-house and not have to digitize or send that out. So let me learn more about what I'm doing. So then you might go from lettering. Right, so the basic level of the software is lettering, which allows you to have, let's see, I got some samples up here. A design. Okay, so let's just start a new piece of paper. We got these tabs across the top, so I can switch very easily from project to project, which is fabulous. I am working in Design Shop 12 today. So if you have 9, or if you have Design Shop 10, or if you have some other software, I don't know what the words are going to be for you, but we're going to do the best that we can. So let's say with the software, we get some cool designs. I'm just going to pick out a design. So this is what lettering will allow you to do. You can come in, buy designs, get a collection of whatever it is, and with the lettering tool, which is the big A on the side, you can grab that and type in, Jesse, and then add a name to an already existing design, so that you can then sew this out on whatever it is you're going to sew it out on, tea towels or whatever. So lettering literally gives you lettering. And in that, you get like 200 plus fonts and some monograms. And that's a lot of fonts that are digitized for embroidery, right? So these fonts were created by somebody at Melco with purpose and intention. So if I look at my properties box for my lettering, I have all the things, bells and whistles. You can also look at your lettering up here in this small little tab across the top, but this lets me see everything that's available. So your lettering is broken down into categories. There's monogrammed ones that were created intentionally to be those like 3-letter typical monogram stuff. So you have all of these that are available, but you can also, with the software, take any font. Let's say, for instance, I am right now absolutely in love with Happy Times. It's the cutest font for me. And we're doing a monogram of, so I would be a J. Let's see. I'm a J. K, and then a J, and apply. You can make any letter, any font a monogram. All you have to do is decide how you want your letters. So you can take this font and you'll grab your K, right? You have your little black X, which allows you to work with each individual letter. And then I can go, well, I really want this letter to be that big. You can make it that big. So you can turn any fonts that are out there into a monogram very quick and very easy. lots and lots of fonts out there available. So then you have, you know, every download comes with those designs that I just kind of showed you. I am reading off of my cheat sheet to make sure I don't miss anything. Auto underlay and auto densities. So one of the things that they worked really hard with in oh, it's still just looking at me. Okay. Ha. Okay. Hi. Sorry. Thank you, Brenda. For that. We did not realize that the screen was not shared. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Okay. So here we go. Let's go back to those things. So the files that are downloaded with your software, and this is just to kind of get you going. It's always going to download in the C drive and in a folder called Designs. This is what comes with your software. When you're going through the training, online training, you'll find files in here to work with. There's, you know, samples of things in here as well, like puff and so forth. So there's lots of cool things in this folder for you to play with in that regard. So then you would pick I'm just grabbing something. Let's do more of an eagle. This guy's bullyish. There we go. All right, so these are here to get you started, just so you can do some get started doing some stuff and sewing some things, and you can go through some holidays and stuff like that. So you get all of the fonts, the designs, your auto underlay and density. That's where we were. So they've worked really hard out at Melco to go through your underlay and your density for lettering, because they want people that are brand new out of the box to have very good success with sewing lettering. So they've automatically determined, you know, according to the size of the letter that you create, a 4-inch letter compared to a 1/2 inch letter, how much underlay and how much density you need for those letters. Is that going to apply for every situation? No. That's why we have options. I mean, you're not going to run the same letter on a woven dress shirt for a man that you're going to sew on a fleece sweatshirt. It's not going to look right. The fleece, it's going to fall in. You need to do special things to that. So it's a typical situation that these defaults are, but you then have to know how to like change all of those defaults, and that's where you can go in and affect your density. See, right now, if you see my mouse on the screen, my density is set at 100% because it's set for auto. If it's not giving me the sewing results that I want, you turn off that auto feature and then you take control. You see they have it set at 3.5, which is a pretty close stitch, which gives you good coverage. Maybe it's too much coverage. Maybe it's not enough coverage. Do you need to loosen that density by raising the number? Do you need to tighten that density and make the stitches closer by lowering that number? What situation are you dealing with? Because you could be working on some really, really small letters and that density is going to be too loose or too tight. So just knowing where to go to make the effects is key. I'm also, towards the end of the video, going to make sure that you have access to all of the information in the tutorial videos that Melco has out there to offer. I do not, as of yet, have 100% of everything out there and how to do it, but we are going to touch on a lot of stuff very quickly today. Okay, so then the biggest amazing feature that Design Shop 12 has is this feature called Checker. So Checker is, if you're going over to the right hand side of your screen, it's this very far right, Design Checker. This particular design that I'm working with has nothing in this column because there's nothing outside of the normal parameters for sewing. But if I pick something else, where was it? I had this one. Design Checker, all of these things. What does Design Checker do for you? Here's what it does for you. It goes in and looks at your design and says, hey, there's a problem here. You might have an issue. Let's address that. So I'm going to go up to, I believe it is Tools and Options. in my software and I click on the design checker. This is what was determined to be the most issue related things that you really need to look for in a design, right? Do we have our tie-in and tie-offs? Do we have too many? I have had a service call to work on a machine and I get there and there's like 10 trims in the design file, which was causing the machine to go into a weird kind of fault. So do you have too many tie-in stitches? Maybe you digitized your own custom tie-in and then the software's set to add the tie-in as well, and then you've got too many and it's going to go in and take some of those out, or at least tell you that they're there and they need to be taken out. What is your stitch length? Is it too short? Is it too long? Something in there is not right. What is your columns? What are your how wide is your column? So it talks about columns being under 10 points or over 100 points. That's pretty wide. That's 10 millimeters wide. Yeah, 10 millimeters wide. That's pretty wide. So you don't want stitches that are too wide. You don't want stitches that are too narrow in your average design. All of these change depending on what you're doing, though, right? If you're doing some kind of fringe kind of a design where you have these really long stitches that you're trimming and doing weird things with in the end, you're going to have really long stitches, and that's going to be okay. So it depends on what you're doing, right? All right, so then you have your fills. What is your density? Is your density too tight or is your density too loose? What do you need? This is, again, average design, you know, and then miscellaneous. Does it have any underlay? Does it have more than 2 layers of threads? How many needle penetrations are in the area? So what do you need? And this is a really cool tool because it's going to pinpoint those things. It's telling me I don't have any underlay on any of these things, and it's telling me what it is. When I click on it, it highlights it. It says, hey, you don't have any underlay under here. Is that okay? It's okay. I'm going to leave it alone. You know, what is my problem? What is custom stitches under 10 points wide? Yeah, definitely a little whatever that is small. Maybe I want to change it. Maybe I don't. I'm not going to change anything in the design because I purposefully made it, you know, too many layers, but that's okay. All right, so that's what you get there. Let's see. True type and open type font support. So true type and open type fonts. So let's see. Right now I have whatever is installed on this computer, which is not all my true type fonts because I had to I completely wiped my computer and started over. So these are true type and open type fonts down here. These fonts are available to be used, and so this allows you to, when you're working with multiple elements and you're doing sublimation on cups and maybe you're doing DTF over here, and now you need to also use that same lettering that you're using for that client in one area in the embroidery area, you have that availability for that font through the true type and open types that are available for you. Let's see, preset shapes for envelope text. Okay, so then we get into things like your line. Right now I have it set for arc. You can see there's my font in this Solfin. I don't even know exactly how to say that correct. Solfin. Okay, so then you get into line types, right? You have straight, which is typical. Then they have vertical. Don't do too much of the verticals. Arcs are very popular. And in the arc, there is a new feature in 12 that goes from fixed to curve. You can see the difference there. Normally you'd have your curved letters, but maybe now you want them fixed, right? So 2 different options there, which is pretty amazing. And let's see, then you have your custom, which is your, so custom, maybe you need this to be like a pyramid. It's just a quick, easy thing. Maybe it needs to be like this. However you want to shape your letters, you can shape the letters. You can also, instead of using a straight point here, let's delete that one, I can put a curve point in and round whatever I really need. Inside curves don't really work too well. Let's change this to curve. So you can shape your lettering. Maybe it's going to go down through an S, or you want to draw. I did some letters that went down the back of a penguin one time, and it started at his head and went all the way down to his tail, and it was a whole saying. So, you know, what do you need? Your options are endless here. Then they have, you know, perspective. Perspective is when you have something kind of like, you know, a bullhorn, right? The J looks like it's farther away than the T. Then you have envelope, which is the same thing, only without the perspective. It just moves it, you know, what do you need your shape of your box to be? Maybe you're doing, you know, a housing or a roofer, and they want their lettering to follow the shape of that house, right? For an example. And then they have what is new is the text box. So the text box is a great feature for when you're doing like names. Okay, so you have, for example, a job to do, and you're doing 30 shirts, and you have 30 employee names that you have to put all in a similar shape and size of an area. This is what you would use that box for. You set your box shape and size and height for whatever that is, and then you change your name. Let's put in a really long name. And Drew. See, it keeps the name in this defined space, but adjusts the size. So then if you had a name like Sam, it's going to adjust it to fit. You can also affect some of the settings for the text box. You can change the justification to top. You can change it to the middle. You can change it to the bottom. You can do word wrap. So if you had a hyphenated name, it's going to drop the name down half on one, half on the other, depending on the letters. So you don't really have to have a really long name for it to do that. Or if you're just trying to do a text block, and you want to fill in the space with stuff and it can't go bigger than that, you just keep filling it in. It's going to resize and resize and resize, keeping it in that shape. So this new text box feature is pretty amazing. We love that. Oh, that's right. Expanded character alphabet. Okay. Oh, expanded character alphabet. Okay, so you can see on my screen here that I have this character list. So if you have a special character that you need, maybe you're trying to do some lettering, and this A in Sam needs to be an A that has punctuation above it. We can come and find the A that you need, and you just double click on it and it pops it in with that punctuation on it. So this character list over here is amazing in that finding those letters and punching those special characters in is very quick and easy. We love this feature. Look at all these special characters in this font. Depending on the font will depend on the special characters that are available. Just keep that in mind. All right, so then we have realistic 3D rendering and art test class. Yeah, so I did that already. So the realistic 3D drawing is good. They've done a good job of this. Like I said, they're really getting things to look very nice. And you can take this lettering and it helps you to see, right? Is it looking like what I want it to see? Looking at things in 3D as opposed to seeing all those weird layers when it's not on, right? You can see all this underlay, and if you really want to see sort of what it looks like, you can hit on that 3D button. Okay, so now let's talk about the next upgrade. which is from lettering to editor. So everything in editor that is there that you had in the lettering, all of these lettering features are going to be in there. In addition to that, now you get some digitizing features. So with the editor, you can come in, let me find a blank shape, blank page, here we go, with your tools. These are your digitizing tools. You have a line tool for doing some line detailed stuff. Let me turn on the 3D. You have your column tool for making columns of shapes. You have your outline tool. Maybe you want to come around and put an outline on that. And then you have your fill tool, which gives you blocks of areas of fills in whatever shape that is. No hole. We're going to do a start and stop point in stitch direction. So you can go in and make shapes and digitize. This is what you need to digitize. If you don't have lettering and you want to start digitizing, this next level is going to give you the ability to do that. Manual digitizing. Okay. So then you can also get your wireframe and stitch editing. So with this, you can come in and say, okay, when this sews, oops, escape out of that. I want to come in and edit. So wireframe editing means that maybe I need to move this a little bit. Maybe this curve is a little off and I need to adjust this curve. You can come in and edit those things. Maybe you're using a digitizer that gives you an OFM file. With that OFM file, then you are able to do some editing. Only if the tools are available for you, right? Okay. So then you have your multiple stitch directions within the element. So what is a multiple stitch direction? Multiple stitch direction is where, okay, well, the stitches that are over here, I want to go in a different direction than the other ones. I can come in with the splice tool and I'm going to go right along that stitching that looks weird and splice it right there. Now I can go back down to my stitch direction and say anything here I want to go that way. There we go. And now these stitches go in this direction. You can see that one right there. It shines it shows it very well here. Then I do have this kind of weird thing here where the software is doing something funny. And maybe it's just a matter of making a change, a slight change. Come on, reload. There you go. That's multi-stitch direction. Okay, anyways, moving on. Selectable character list for fonts. That's the ones that I had just showed you. Okay, automatic fabric adjustment for styles. So this feature, automatic, where is automatic? Let me find it. Advanced? Nope. Effects. Random, nope. I just saw it. I didn't saw it. Light, medium, heavy. Here it is. Okay. And then enable auto underlay. So do you want user defined, light, medium, or heavy? So light would be if you are doing some thin fabric and you don't need a lot of underlay. Heavy would be like a bath towel. We need a lot. So you can make all of those changes. Alignment tools. Okay, so alignment tools are available now, which is where, let's see, where do they pop up? Let's make sure my view is on for this. All of my views are on. Yeah. Grid ruler is on. Shift. There we go. I have two now selected together. I can align them to the right or align them to the bottom. And you can move alignments around. Usually I like to see everything. So I'm one of those picky people that don't really like the alignment tools, but everybody's different, and these might be perfect for a certain situation that you need. All right, so then you have custom shapes and designs, a library. So the custom shape and design library. Let me delete all of this. That is this really cool button here that will highlight if you have this feature. And then what do you need? This thing is packed full of stuff. As you can see, I'm on custom designs, common symbols, trademarks. Here's your really quick registered mark. Maybe you need some, just a fleur-de-lis for some reason. Maybe you just need a quick heart. Poof, there's a quick heart. You have common sports emojis. Maybe you want to throw an emoji in something. There is also custom shapes. These are just like line item shapes, miscellaneous, holiday, patterns. Patterns, no, that's not gonna work. That's the patterns that go into your fills. There's a bug. So there's some stuff in here that you can play with. Maybe you just need a really quick little fish. There's your quick little fish. All right. Custom shapes and designs. Then you have like a PNG export. So this is the level of software that you would want if you're wanting to create designs. Like in their flyer, they show this custom, high res export, because they're showing like an embroidery on a cup, faux embroidery on a cup, which is pretty cool. You can actually take this little girl right here, save it out, save as PNG, and that's going to save her as a really high resolution file, so that you can take that over to your sublimation printer and print it and then put it on a cup. All right, what else do we have here? Custom shape folders. Yep, I showed that. Gradient lettering characters. Gradient lettering characters. So in this decorative, there is, was it in custom designs? Yes. They have put in these gradient letters. So there's, yellow, orange, and red. But this letter has multiple colors to it. So these are available in here, which I thought was really cool. Let's see, pattern fill generation. Okay. So that's what editor will give you. All right, now then, let's talk about the next level, right? Because each level is going to add more and more and more. So the vector has everything I've previously talked about, plus vector digitizing. So what does that mean? That means I can bring in, don't need that anymore. We don't need our eagle anymore, our angel. Nope. There we go. So this is my coffee cup. So this coffee cup is in the file, so you can go and see it. This is a vectored item. So maybe you have a print shop as well, and you've already got vectored items that you just need to bring in and digitize for a client. You already have the shape. You bring it in here and it's going to look like this, where you have the shape of the cup. You have the shape of the steam. You've got the coffee and the creamer in there. And all of these show up in a list. If it doesn't show up as a vector list, then it's not a vector file that you can work with in this way. I know, coffee at 2:30 in the afternoon. It's okay. So then you have the ability to, depending on the list and how complicated the design is, you can click the entire thing and right click and convert to stitches, and poof, there's my coffee cup. Let me zoom in on it and turn it into 3D. There's my coffee cup. I mean, it's that fast because this is a simple design. The bigger the design, the more complicated the design, the software doesn't take in a second, right? Sometimes it can take up to a minute depending on what you're doing. So you have this auto digitizing using the vector lines for you. Whereas the next level down, you have to come in and draw every shape yourself. Right? Okay. Now then, you also have open, insert, and save graphics, right? So, because you got to be able to pull in all of those graphics and work with them. You can utilize Illustrator clipboard data. So if you had Illustrator clipboard data, you'd be able to utilize that in the software as well. I don't use that a whole lot. That's a new feature because I'm not doing other types of things in my shop. Remember, I'm just doing embroidery. At one point in time, I did a little bit of dabbling into sublimation, but I'm not even doing that anymore in my shop. So if you need that feature, you're going to need vector level. And then you have graphic conversion assistant, which is the auto digitizer that gets started in here. And grid lines. Yeah. So graphic conversion assistance. So this would be one where I would need some assistance. Earth Day graphic conversion assistant. It's going to pop in and say, hey, I see all of these colors, 1, 2, 3, 4. All these colors. I say, yes, that's good. Convert. So it comes in and kind of shapes it all out for me and then digitizes it. Let me turn on that 3D and it's done. Again, I'm using simple shapes. So the more difficult the shape, the more fading and things like that, the longer it does take to render. All right, so that is vector. Then you get into Pro. Pro is the highest level of the software that's out there, and it has all of the bells and whistles. Is there something I need to do? Okay. It has all of the bells and whistles. So everything we've talked about, now we can get into really cool things like, let's go back to my lettering. Let's say we want to take Sam and shadow that. Instead of going in and duplicating and all of that, we just hit the shadow button. Let's see, we want a satin, we want it at 45 degrees. Okay. There is our shadow. It pops it in very quick and easy for you. You also have some distortion effects that you can do now. Let's undo that. And let's go to, let's do Earth Day. Let's go to this complex fill. This will give us a pretty cool, no, escape out of the tool. Fill, thank you. Nope, escape. Why is this giving me a hole? There we go. All right, now, distortion effects. These are under, let me find it. Effects. What do you need? Let's do a random edge. A random edge is pretty cool. It will give us things that look kind of shaggy. So now our sun doesn't look quite so stiff. So distortion effects. Shadow tool, I did that. Combining elements. I think they all have to touch the elements. Okay, these two touch. So shift, and now I can combine, and it shows up as a thing that we can do. Combine, and so it combines them as one with the openings in here now. All right, so you can combine some stuff together. You can change the element type. So these are fills. Let me go to this purple line here. Well, I don't want the properties of a fill. I can go into the operations and I can actually change the type. I want the properties of a column. So I will replace that. Now I have the properties for a column to work with. So you can change the element types. Then you have curved stitch directions. So you can actually come into your stitch directions that you have now and make it curved. So right now the stitch direction is straight, but maybe we'll turn it over here and we're going to give it a little bit of a curve like that. Let's zoom in on that. So I don't know if you can see it, but the stitches go up and then come back down like that. So you can make the waves in the water actually curved and moved. You can create blends and custom densities. You can create decorative and pattern fills. Oh, pattern fills are available to us now as well. So we'll go to the properties, and maybe you don't want it on plain. You want some sort of decorative geometric. Now you can see the fill here. This is too wide. Let me zoom in on this. My fill is now this. Oh, I see why it looks. Let me hide the graphic. There we go. See, it's got this geometric spin. So this is really cool to do if you're wanting to throw in a nice fill area that has some pattern to it. It's not just flat and straight and plain. Some decorative stitches. Create and edit embroidery, fonts, and monograms. Oh, that is the coolest thing. Yeah, remember. You can now bring in fonts and make them keyboard lettering with your alphabet tool. So the first thing you have to do is, I'm going to delete that and insert a font. And I actually don't know if I have one ready to go. Oh, here we go. Let's do this. They have them in here. So if I had this Western symbols and I want to make keyboard lettering out of it, I'm going to open my boot. And then you take this design and you save the letter. And you can call it whatever we want. We'll call this, see, do I have a test in here? Thought I had test font. That's tiny. That's floral where I was practicing with it before. So you can make new. We can call this Western. La la la. Save, save, save. Come on. There we go. Western. There we go. And I want this boot to be a B. So I would type in the keyword lettering for B and OK. And so now when I go to my fonts and I go to my custom and my Western and I type the letter B, I get a boot. So you can, if you bought fonts back in the day that were fonts that were that you purchase and download, and you have to bring in the A, bring in the B, bring in the C. Now, it will take you a couple of minutes to generate the font and assign keyboard lettering to it and create it in the list. But once you get it, if it's a font you're wanting to offer for like a season and you have a specialty font for, let's say, 4th of July that's got a little flag or something attached to each letter, you create it, set it up, takes like 15 to 30 minutes depending on the difficulty and how many sizes of letters you want to deal with. And you create your font, and then you can offer that for your season. You'll be able to type in that letter quickly. It's a crazy cool new thing. What else is in there? Auto, see, it's all auto primer stitch, auto basting outline. All right, let's say I'm doing this boot and I'm sewing this on a bath towel. The boot's gonna get lost in that bath towel. So I can take this design and quickly, is it under operation? Operation, here it is. Basting a primer stitch. So primer stitch. Primer stitch is gonna give me a whole woven that's going to go behind the design, and this is going to lay down all of that bath towel loops and fluff from a fleece jacket or something, or from a beanie. Like if you're doing a hat beanie and you want to keep that lettering or that design from sinking into that beanie, this primer stitch is nice and quick and easy to do. Auto closest point connection, that's just for the lettering. Oh, and then you have the whole new tool of cross stitch that is available. So you select it and you draw your box. I'm gonna get rid of this boot, and then you can draw cross stitch designs. Look at that. So I would obviously have a shape or a name. Maybe I was drawing a name or something. I can turn it into cross stitch very easily. The cross stitch tool is here, sub-program. So if you're interested in cross stitch, you love cross stitch, this is going to be your new tool. And they just worked really hard in fixing a couple of small bugs that were in it. So that has been updated and is great. What else is there? I'm almost to the bottom. Stitch, add borders to designs and elements. Yep. Oh, corner control. Ha, yeah. So if you do a block stitch and we want to do a rectangle, if I click on this rounded rectangle, I can left click and drag, and then when I let go, it's going to show me the corners for my rectangle, so I can decide how much of a curve I want on the edge of this, and then click, and it automatically curves the corners for you. This feature rocks. So that is amazing. And then auto borders is just where you take something and you can create a border around it very quickly and easily. Maybe if you're trying to do a patch or something. Design, operation, border. Let's see, let's do a satin border. We're going to stitch the border last. One border. We're going to offset it 10 points. So it's kind of giving me a line I can see right there. And okay. And there's my border. So now I can turn any design very quickly into like an applique feature or patch. Yeah, I kind of covered everything. So what are your needs? What do you want to do? And what level of the software do you need to do that with? If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'll try to answer them or point you to information. Information. So in your, all right, if you go to Melco, service. They have a fabulous, you can look at your manual for Design Shop is in here. You can also get to it from Design Shop, but they have an FAQ section, and the FAQ site is this Melco Zendesk. And this Zendesk, if you type in, so I typed in Design Shop 12 features, and I got all of this stuff. Anything in red is a link that's going to take you to another document so that you can learn more. But this Melco Zendesk is where you need to be searching. Don't go to ChatGPT. Don't go to any of those kind of things. If you want to know how to do something in your software, which is this Design Shop software, you're going to come in here, you're going to type in a keyword, and you're going to find all kinds of tutorials. Like any information Melco has out there is out on this site for you and available. Let's see. Now, if you decide that you found something that you are interested in and you want to upgrade your software, all you have to do is contact your account manager. In the old days, we called them sales reps, but they're more than that now. Your account manager can help you with anything like this. Or if there's something going on and you can't get help, right? Tech support for any reason, your sales rep will be there, or your account manager will be there to help you. They will have all of the numbers and the pricing and everything. I don't have any of that or access to any of that, and I'm not interested in any of that. But don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Give me a thumbs up for today. Be sure to like, share, and I hope that today I helped you. Oh yes, my subscribe. Hit the bell, so hit the bell and make sure you turn on all when you hit the bell so that you get notified anytime I make a video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and whatever information you need, type it in the comments below and I will make a video for you.